Okay, well, we wanted to do a quick little video to kind of give you all some information from our last undergraduate and graduate council meetings. As you all know from our undergraduate council, we got cut short with the internet trouble, and Catherine had prepared a list of programs that she wanted to show you all that you all had requested, but we wanted to give you an opportunity to see that list last meeting, but we wanted to be able to put it into some context, and so that's why we're doing the video today. But I do want to just mention a couple of things really quickly, just to remind you all that we have been working on this since last April. And I've been working since the summer with the Council of Directors on thinking about things like focus area, emphasis and concentration, and track. We need to come together with some language on that, and the Council of Directors have supported me on that effort. The only thing is that we can't have emphasis as we currently have it today. And the goal is to have a streamlined inventory that is honest and in line with our inventory at both IHL and with SAC-COC, as I've talked about in previous Q&A sessions that we've had over this. So just to refresh your memory on a couple of things at this institution, really the academic program definition that I have really is three statements about what we currently do and have done for years. Nothing really new in that regard, other than we've called things emphases, but nonetheless, they really are programs. And I just want to mention, if you go look in the bulletin, and you can go back and look at a bulletin as long as we have them archived, we have the area called Major Field Requirements. And all students at Southern Miss are required to complete the requirements of at least a single degree plan, also known as a major. So that means that each degree plan that we have listed in our catalog is considered already, and has been for years, a major. And SAC-COC considers majors academic programs. That's clear in their definitions, and I talked about that several times over the last several months. So again, nothing really particularly new there. And also I want to point out that if you look at our website, we call these things programs, clearly calling these things programs. And as you scroll down through it, you will see, for example, Art, Drawing, and Painting BFA is a program. Art, Graphic Design is a program, so on and so forth. We have all of these programs that are listed on our inventory. We publish this out to the world, so to speak. And so really what I was just doing with the academic program definition is just writing down the way that we currently do business at the institution. So I'm going to turn it over to Catherine now, and she's going to go through with you this list of programs that are maybe a little on the low side in terms of IHL numbers of graduates. And I just want to remind everybody that the IHL minimums are all we're going to be talking about today, because that seems to be the concern that you all had was about IHL. And I think when you look at this list, you're going to see that fewer programs than you might think are in trouble with, quote unquote, with IHL than you might have thought. And a number of them are already undergoing changes to help address that. But the University of Southern Mississippi, that is we, have minimums that are much higher than that, and those are the things. But today we're going to be talking about the IHL minimums and everything that we're talking about here. So don't confuse this with our institutional minimums, please. All right, Catherine.
So the institutional research has a worksheet that anyone can access with a USM faculty or staff ID. And you can pull this out, but the reason I wanted to pull this out and walk you through it is because you really have to understand the history behind each line. And so when you pull out the spreadsheet, which combines graduates of the last 3 years, so that's in column T, those are the most recent numbers for the last 3 years. And then you'll see column S is what we reported 1 year ago, and column R is what we reported 2 years ago. So you'll see several zeros, and that's not to say we don't have robust programs there. That's just might and usually is the fact that we have recoded things. And when we recode, we inactivate, we combine, the numbers get all messed up in that we can't just easily get a snapshot of what's going on. So for example, Applied Technology BAS, they recently had a program name change, and so you're not going to see the inactive program in this list. But they are, a robust, healthy program. The same thing with the next line, Biological Sciences Conservation Biology BS. That's a new emphasis name, so you're not going to see the former emphasis name in this list. Now, what I did is I color-coded this list to try to help distinguish between an emphasis and a standalone program. Applied Technology, it's one program. There are no emphasis. It's standalone, so it has a white code. Conservation Biology, we have several emphasis areas in biological sciences, so it's an emphasis. That's why I gave it a yellow code. Health Sciences, parentheses, Healthcare Studies, it looks like an emphasis, but in fact it's a standalone program. There's only one line on the inventory called Health Sciences. So that could be deceiving as well. And one reason it has zero graduates is because it was built as a pre-major holding place for nursing students. And that group is actually working on revising that degree plan to make it one where students can graduate and will graduate. Information Technology, that's a program that had two emphasis areas. Last year they came to us and they combined those two emphasis areas into one line. It's a very healthy program, but you're not going to see those numbers without looking at the inactive programs. You're going to see a lot of music related programs highlighted in yellow, and we have been working with the School of Music, and they're working very hard in addressing all of their emphasis areas. They have more emphasis areas than anyone else on campus, and in doing their program inventory review, they have come up with a plan on trying to streamline things. So, once those degree plans get streamlined, they would likely fall off these lists here, or the low numbers. Ocean Engineering is a fairly new program, so they have enrollment, headcount for sure. They just have not, those students have not worked their way all the way through the degree plan. And then you have physics licensure and chemistry licensure. You're going to see several licensure programs highlighted in yellow, and that's just where we are with licensure as a university in some of these secondary licensure programs. And those have been around a long time. There's no inactive programs hidden. That's just that's their numbers right there. Music, parentheses, history and literature. I coded that one as a green because there's a proposal in Curriculog at this time to inactivate this emphasis area. So like I said, music is on this right now, and so we'll be seeing more and more proposals from music. Journalism is a new program name. They've done a lot of reorganization in that school, and you'll continue to see more. But you're not going to see, we've had plenty of journalism students graduate in the last few years. It's just they're not showing up here because they're in inactive programs. Construction Management's another new program name. They have hundreds of students that are in the inactive degree plan. Philosophy pre-law. Now that's a program that we have had success in going to IHL because they have been below the IHL minimum, and but we have successfully just written our reports and explained how this is a program that is valuable to our GEC and to the university as a whole, and we just they turned they have an online offering now, and in an attempt to increase their enrollment, and that action plan is working well. World languages, again with the licensure, 2 language, those, there's no inactive programs there. That's just,
Low numbers.
yeah, they're low numbers. They did have a name change not too long ago, but that name change did not influence these numbers here. Applied Economics is a new program name, so you're not seeing all their students in the inactive degree plan. Okay, let me look at forensics. So forensics is a unique emphasis area structure in that there's about 4 or 5 emphasis areas, and the forensics DEGO 1 is exactly the same across all of these emphasis areas, and then they, in their DEGO 2, they farm out the DEGO 2 to these different areas. You have anthropology, you probably have criminal justice, so there's several of those, and we have talked to them about different ideas, brainstorming ways to address all their different emphasis areas, and see if we could collapse those into just one degree plan that would have students go off and take these other areas in a more streamlined manner. Marine science hydrography is a fairly new program, but it is an emphasis area. Its sister program, marine science, is also in yellow, I do believe. Yeah. The arts, art has 3 emphasis areas. Art, drawing, and painting, and art sculpture are in yellow. Their art graphic design is over down below. They have more than 18 students that graduate in a course of 3 years. Computer engineering is a new program, and they're just now graduating students. Medical laboratory science, MLT to MLS, is really a completion pathway. That's for students who have an AA degree. Dance that's your licensure program right there. Dance education. There's another forensics. Again, the forensics, every forensics you see, they all share the exact same DEGO 1. Philosophy, I explained that one a little while ago. Theater, they have several emphasis, well, they probably have 2 emphasis areas. The other one's probably down there in white. Yeah, theater acting is down there on line 61. Biological science, there's another licensure. Criminal justice, juvenile justice is an emphasis area. Their sister program, criminal justice, is probably found down way down there in white, over 18. Geography is just a standalone program. It does not have an emphasis area. A few years ago, or last year, they combined. They did combine some programs in that, and so they probably do have some inactive students that aren't showing up here. In fact, they do. Marine science, again, that one's been around for a while. And it's at 14 graduates of a course of 3 years. There's another licensure program, another music, another world language, and then another pre-law. So you really can kind of group some of these that have fallen below 18 graduates in the course of 3 years when you look at it this way. There's geology that they had an emphasis area.
It's been a while.
Yeah. So that's pretty. I'm not sure if they have any inactive students behind that one. Art BA has been around a long time. This is a unique one in that it used to be an emphasis area. It went away. We brought it back as an emphasis area last year, and then we just sent it up to IHL to become a standalone program. So hopefully in the next month or two, the IHL will approve that, and it will be its own standalone program.
And this really cuts off where the end of the ones below IHL minimums are.
Mm-hmm.
Everything this and down are healthy from an IHL minimum perspective.
Right.
Do you want me to scroll down on any of these?
You can, yeah. So, you'll see a lot of, if you did have an emphasis area highlighted in yellow, a lot of times you'll see their sister program down here, in white. If you keep scrolling, and again, look at recreation, therapeutic recreation, BS. It looks like it's an emphasis area, but it is in fact a standalone program, and we just sent up the paperwork to rename this and remove those parentheses. The kinesiology, parentheses, kinesiotherapy, it is an emphasis area with kinesiology. Kinesiology itself has 3 emphasis areas. 2 of them are stayed with the School of Kinesiology and Nutrition, and 1 went over to nursing, School of Health Professions.
And it's going to be a standalone program.
Yeah, so they're working on the paperwork to get that to become a standalone program. That's probably all the other.
Yeah.
Most of those, you see with the really high numbers are standalone programs. Kinesiology, exercise science has a sister, kinesiology parentheses PE licensure. That was probably up toward the top of this list.
Mm-hmm. So we are going to post this in the files for our teams, so you all will have access to this. File itself, you can look at it. We just wanted to give you context over the file before we released it, because again, noting things in yellow and green and other things, without the context you might not understand exactly what's currently going on. A number of these programs are already taking steps, like Catherine said, music is already taking steps to try to minimize their footprint. Their school director is actively involved in those kinds of discussions right now with their faculty, and they're making a lot of progress with that. The School of Communication is doing a lot of work to try to minimize their footprint and have fewer degree plans in the catalog, if you will. So there's a lot of work already going on these with many of these things that you might be thinking, oh my gosh, these could be in trouble with IHL. We're already taking steps to address some of these issues and have been for quite some time. Again, the policy doesn't change this fact at all, that programs have recognized a number of things. And again, being from chemistry, I feel like I can pick on my own group. We've been having conversations about what we can do to reinvigorate the licensure. We know that we need to do that. We do believe it could add value to the institution, but when you have a program that has 0 enrollment right now, we should be thinking about that as a faculty. What can we do to improve that? And again, that has nothing to do with the definition that we were just talking about. Now, another question that came up the other day was, what are our sister institutions doing with respect to how they report things to IHL versus SACS? And what I can tell you is that in terms of how they report things to SACS, they do data dumps from their catalog just like we do and send those, because that's what SACS instructs us to do. Now, how they report things to IHL, we all have access to that. We can see that in the IHL active program inventory. You all can get this from the IHL website. Let me increase this just a little bit so it's a little easier to view. We'll go to 150% here. And I'm going to let Catherine show you a few things. But there's, it's all over the place with how we report things to IHL. I think that's fair to say. And my concern is that we should be reporting to IHL the same as we report to anybody else. Our programs should be our programs, and we should own them. But what I will say is that take world languages, for example. We say we have world languages and have one item on the inventory at the undergraduate level for world languages. Whereas if you look at University of Mississippi, they have French, they have Chinese, they have Arabic, they have Spanish, they have, did I say French? they have French. They list them all. If you look at the University of Mississippi, they say they have English and English education, whereas we say we have English, although we know we teach people how to teach English. But you wouldn't know that from looking at the inventory. So I'm going to turn this over again to Catherine and let her show you a few highlights.
I'm not good at scrolling.
It's a Mac.
Yeah.
What do you want me to scroll
Just
to?
scroll to the English example. Okay.
Over C, you want English education. There we go.
Okay. Yeah. So, when we say, as far as IHL is concerned, USM has a BA in English, and Ole Miss has a BA in English, and they also have a BSED in English education. So our licensure program gets rolled up in what we report to IHL, and so when we report our numbers for English BA, we give our English BA and our English parentheses licensure BA numbers to IHL. And then so that's just one example.
And not only what we report to IHL, what we report to the Department of Education. We actually report to the federal government that we graduated a bunch of English majors. When in reality we have, but we've also graduated a number of people who go on and teach English, but they are coded as just English Common General.
Right, and so if you look, the English education for Delta State and Ole Miss, they have a zip code, a 13 zip code. That's your education zip code. So those students who are in their English licensure program, they have that code associated with that, with their degree.
Let's see, since we're on E's, let's go down to F's and look at film. Film production.
Yeah. Ole Miss has a film program. USM does not have a film program according to IHL. It is an emphasis area within a program, so it is not reported to IHL as film.
But we do have media and entertainment arts, parentheses, film.
Film, yeah.
And it's a fairly well-known film program.
But we're not able to advertise it as its own standalone program.
That's right.
Yeah, so if you keep scrolling,
Another one that's here is biology. So if you look at ours, we offer biological sciences, and we also offer biological sciences, biomedical sciences. Those are two things that are on the IHL inventory for us. Whereas at University of or Mississippi State, they have biological sciences. They have biology, biological sciences, general biology, microbiology, and molecular biology. They actually offer at various levels. They're not all at undergraduate levels, but they offer programming across that breadth as well.
So if you look at Ole Miss Health and Physical Education, so it's got a 13, it's got an education zip code, it's a BAED. And so we do have a physical education licensure program, but it's not reported to IHL as such.
Mm-hmm. So again, we're not going to go through all of these. Was there anything else that you wanted to point out right off the bat?
Maybe the public, keep scrolling. Wait, no, I'm sorry, scroll back to the H's. Let's find health administration. Yeah. So look at Jackson State. They have a healthcare administration program, a BS, and we actually have an emphasis, a healthcare administration sort of. I don't know the exact name of it, but it's health administration. But we lump those two emphasis areas into just the heading of public health.
Mm-hmm. So you all will be able to go through these as much as you want. This is publicly available information. Everything that we've put together for you today is freely available on the web. And so the last couple of meetings, actually, that's what we told you, was that you could go and look at that information right now. It was available. So all we've done again is just actually pulled the files and are showing them in our Excel program here. And then highlighted a few things to show you where things stood. So my goal with this is I hope you watch this before the next undergraduate or graduate council meeting, and then you can come with questions for me or Catherine, as the case may be, about the program definition. But again, I've already promised to work with the council of directors on trying to figure out how we can, for those programs, those degree plans that exist now that may want to roll into one, I've agreed to work with them on how we can develop those. And I think that's going to be on a case-by-case basis because everybody, it's all over the place. I don't think we can have one policy that easily does that for us. But I can tell you that the School of Communication is working on that right now, and I think they've got a great plan in place that we may be able to model on with other folks. And so I know that I took the focus definition out because the council of directors wanted to talk about focus area. But again, focus area was not about anything transcripting. It was really about marketing, right? So how could you market your program to prospective students through the judicious choice of elective courses? So I mocked this up, for example, with the chemistry program, and we could have a focus area in materials. We could have a focus area in research. We could have a focus area in medicinal chemistry, for example. We've got coursework that students can already take through electives that they could focus on if they wanted to, and this would allow us to go out and tell students, hey, look, you could major in chemistry and focus on these areas if you want, if this was something that you wanted to do. It's not a transcripted credential. It's not something that they would apply to. It would just be a way for you to describe it in the bulletin. It would be a way for you to describe it on your recruiting materials. And we do need to come around with some rules for that, of course, because we don't want to just have a focus if you have one course, right? That doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But if you had, let's say, 9 hours of elective coursework, I kind of like the 9-hour rule because it's half of a minor. But a student could come in and focus on a particular area within your current major by choosing some elective courses. And that's all focus was ever about. It was never about being a transcripted item. It was about a way in which you could talk to students honestly about other things that they can do outside or within your curriculum that might share their interest without having to get a minor or a badge or a certificate or anything like that. They could select and kind of tailor their focus in some of those electives. So anyway, hope you enjoyed watching this, and if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me, douglas.masterson@usm.edu, and I'd be happy to answer any questions. And I certainly look forward to answering any questions at the next council meeting. Thank you.